mugabo yitaba
zanze kujyaho kandi nta kintu kiriho nasi urebe fatari na noze na friend request
Prince.
Yes, good evening, class.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
So can you see my screen? Please.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
So Emmanuel, want some people to put their mic off. So let's start.
Okay, off with that. Like it's a local man as well.
I hope the font size is much bigger than previous video. Okay, so let's get started from the previous session that we shared with you. We covered mainly variable and the constant. So today we are going to discuss PLSQL records. So what are records in PLSQL? As we have seen some other data types, record is another data type that you have in your Oracle that we can use to define a placeholder. In simple words, records are composite data types. So what does it mean? It's a combination of different scalar data types, such as car, var, number, date. You can combine any number of data types. This is much similar to structures in C. If you guys did C, you have covered structures in C. Structures in C is also a composite data type. So each scalar data type in one record will hold a value, and a record can be visualized as one row of data. When you talk about one row, again, it depends. If you look at one table, for example, in database, the table will have a number of columns. That's how we visualize individual record in a PLSQL. So let's look at this one. Let's describe employees. So each row in employees table will consist of employee ID, first name, last name, email, phone number, hire date, job ID, salary, commission PCT, manager ID, department ID. So we visualize each record as one row in this table or in any other table, which means what are the data you have for one row? Okay, you will see something like this one.
Amanda.
So please mute your mic, mute your mic. So if you look at each row in this table, you have got a lot of data. Let's start with this one: employee ID, first name, last name, hire date. There is no hire date. There is no salary. Okay, so many columns. It's hard to match each column and its value, unless you select a few columns, like employee ID, first name, last name, hire date, salary, manager ID, whatever, from employees. Okay. So in our employees, we have more than those columns, but this gives you a picture of what we mean by individual row. So we define a record as one row of data. So it can contain all the content of a given row. So if you move straight to the declaration, there are several ways or different ways that we can declare a record, but we need first to understand our composite data type. Then we declare our record for that type. So the general syntax for declaring a record is this one you have here. You can explain it. We have got a keyword type. and you have got record type name, because this is a new type that you are creating. And by adding a keyword is record, we can define the columns that you want our record to have. And each column will have a data type, Scala data type. So let's, I hope you can see all my screens. If you know, one can say no, otherwise I will assume that you can see the screen. So let's say we are going to define a record of a student. Yes, we think what data we need for a student. For every student, if you're doing like a data structure, every student maybe is going to have a student ID. And this ID will have a data type. I don't know which data type. In a PSQL, it can be something like a number. And you give some. So how long is the student ID? Maybe 5 digits. Student first name, for example, can say F name, varchar, and maybe 30 characters. Maybe there will be last name, varchar also 30. Maybe semester, each student will have a semester. And what else? Yes, maybe you can go with this one. So this is you can do this if you are in C, but in a PSQL, we don't do that. So, and if you remember the syntax, we said you start with a keyword type, and after the keyword type, what else? You put the name of the type. Maybe I'm trying to define a student. This is the new type, and this type is a composition of these columns, and each column will have its specific Scala data type. Type student, then I add the keyword is record, then we use parentheses like here, and all the columns will become separated. Then in the end, we can close like this one. All right. So give me 2 minutes, please. All right, so I'm back, guys. So this is how we declare our type. The type here is a record, and this record we have 5 Scala data types. Sorry. So this is just creation of the type, and as you have seen in the C, when you do structures, you define it, and you have a data type, then you can use it as a new type. Now let's say this is our program, and you have a declaration section. Declare. Within the declaration section, I can declare like ST. And what is ST? The type is going to be like a student. So this is a declaration of a student. Then maybe I do begin. Let's define what we want from our program. And after we have end. So once you have definition of our structure, we have this data type, which is a structure. We can use it as a type. I'm declaring ST as a student. And for student, as you do in C, you can access the members of this record using the name of record dot column name. For example, I'm going to assign a student ID to something like this. Maybe I can put 5. I'm going to assign first name like this. I'm going to assign last name like this. I'm going to assign semester like this, semester 5 or semester 4. And if you want, you can check the BMS output put line. You can check and see what you have. Name. So this is a concatenation, double horizontal tabs, ST, first name. If you want to see the other name as well, how to put line. The first one is the first name. This is the last name. ST, last name. And the first one is the first name. And yes, we can copy and paste. You have the issue with time, because I've received so many complaints that people are not available for more than 2 hours. Student ID, for example, I go with record name, then member name, STID, and we can put semester here. Semester, and I go with ST semester. So this is the end of our program, as we said. Okay, we can copy and run our program. Okay. So I hope you guys, you can see where my console. So let me need to copy my program here, and I paste it here. So can you all see the program here?
Yes.
Yes, you can see?
Yes.
Okay, so let's debate on this one. So this is a declare, again, to mark the beginning of declaration section.
It's not.
To mark the beginning of declaration section. Then we have got here in the declaration section, the definition of our record. So the keyword here we use is type. Then this is the name of the type. Then we use is record. We open the parentheses, we close it here. Then we define the columns that we want our record to have. And once we have this type created, we can declare any variable and use this type, this new type. And since it is a record, the way we approach it is exactly the same way you deal with the structures in C. So this is the name of our placeholder, which is of what type? Type of student. What is type of student? There is a definition here for student type, which is a record. So we access the member of this record by writing record name dot column name, like this one. So we assign the values like this one. And wherever you want, you can print those values like this one. So once we're done here, we execute this program and we see that there is a problem. Where is the problem? Okay, encountered the symbol. Yes, what is missing? We needed the semicolon here. All right, so because it's the end of a statement, we needed a semicolon here. And if you check in the syntax also that we shared, there is a semicolon. I think you can see this one from here. All right, so let's let's copy again and do paste, execute this program. Yes, you can see procedure successfully completed. Why we can't see the output? You remember the keyword I specified last time? Set server output on. So I want to check some people who did not mute their mic. So please get used. You mute and unmute only when you want to say something. All right? Gilles. Gilles. You can mute and simply unmute when you want to say something. Okay? Do you get me, guys? So who is class representative? We don't have a class representative.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, so yes, please, sir. If you know Mr. Moise Patrick and Gilles, yeah, let people mute their mic and only unmute when they want to say something. So now I was saying this, you guys, when you write a program and you don't see any output, you remember what is missing. When you use the command, when you use the console screen, you need to run this command first to be able to get the output when you use this function. So set server output on. This is activating output buffer so that the characters that the function will echo to the screen will be now if you go this way, you can see the output. So I think class representative, please try to help me. Some people.
Yeah, teacher, I'm trying to text for them.
Yeah.
But I think you can mute them.
Let me find a way to mute them, because yeah, if they want to attend the class, they should be attending the class. So what is your name? What is your name? Class representative, what is your name?
I think it's the Salvatore.
Salvatore.
Yeah, teacher, my name is Moise Patrick.
Okay, I want to mute other people. I don't know what Chanel is doing. Okay. All right. So now you can see the output. So this is the common way we declare a record. And once you have declared the record, as you can see here, you can use a scalar data type. So the second approach I want you to know the second approach we can use for data types, you can use you can use a scalar data type, as we said, but also you can use a database data type if you want. So let's look at a simple scenario.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Why is it that there are areas where you put lowercase and other areas you put uppercase for the first name and last name?
Okay.
Does it?
So it's a straightforward because this is a string. It's within a quotation, so you can put whatever you want. This is a string. Okay, so whatever you see in within the quotes, either single quote or double quotes, this is a string. You can do the way you want it to be seen on on the output. You can do this. It doesn't matter. All right. You get my point. Then here,
Yes.
this is I'm referring to this type which is defined here. And still it's okay. You can make it small. You can make it small or capital, still it's okay. You see, something like this. So you can go this way, still it's okay. So don't worry about using capital small letters, especially when we put it inside the double quotes or single quotes. So I think Olaco is not a case sensitive, but when it comes to the value, it is a case sensitive. So this will give you the output. It doesn't matter whether this is F name capital and this is F name small letter.
Are you ready? What's your ID number?
Oh, I think Mr. Richards, I think you got the answer to your question. Olaco is not a case sensitive. You can see this is a F name small letter. This is F name capital letter, but still you can get the output. So let me try to see who is not muted. I think some people need to learn how to use those applications. All right. So let's continue. So I was giving you a simple scenario. I want to have a record. I need to have a record which will store employees' data from my database, for example. I'm not aware of what data type I should use. So how can I define my record here? Because if this is a record for employee, for example, if this is a record for employee, I need it to be very cautious. I don't need this semester. Probably I need a salary, and this is a number. Type is a number. 5 or 6. That's fine. Even 7. So in this column, I want to have a employee ID, and here employee first name, employee last name, and employee salary. So rather than using this type, because I don't know what the type is employee ID, it has to fit the value in employee ID has to fit into this variable EID. So I will go with this approach. Get employees as a table, employees as a table, column employee ID, percentage type. So what does it mean? Be very careful here. I do not know what the type of employee ID in employees table. So since my variable, we accept the value from employee ID column in employees table, I'm going to inherit that data type using this approach. Table name, column name, percentage type. So if employee ID column in employees table is the number with size 6, this is the same as saying EID, the type is number 6, like this one. But the good thing is when you change it here, you do not have to change it in your program as well. So it will use the same type which is there. I can do the same for first name. I needed to go to employees and get a first name as a column and go with a percentage type. I need to do the same if I need. It's not necessary to go this way, but you can mix scalar data type, or you can inherit the types from your database. Then if I come here, EID, I can put any value, that's fine. And I no longer have a semester, but I have a salary. So I can put a salary. All right. So first name is okay, last name is okay. This is not employee ID. This is not a student ID, sorry. This is employee ID. And I go with EID. And here I go with the salary. I go with the salary and I say ST salary. But yeah, you can change even the name here because this is employee. This is, you can say this is E, and the type we are using here also we needed to collect it. This is the type, the new type here is that employee. We use employee here. Then whenever I have ST, we put E, put E here, E here. Put E. Okay. We put E and we put E here. So now, I think you understand the scenario I'm trying to explain. And sorry, because I have numbers selected. We need to come and copy and paste. So you can see. So this is the second way. You can use to define your record. The key is that we are using the type from the database. We are using the type from a database. So now, how do you, let's see, how do you assign a value to a record? Okay, this is an example which is similar to what we're doing. Okay, so the next step we need to understand, how do we assign a value to a record? So we've been doing it actually. You can see from this example, we've been doing it. If you convert this example into this one, this is the assignment. We assign the value to each member of your record using assignment operator in PLSQL, which is a column and equal. So like this, we are putting this value into EID. We are putting this value into FName. We are putting this value into last name, and we are putting this value into salary. All right. So now, just 1 second. I want to make a class representative. I want to make you the co-host. You are Patrick, right?
Yeah, I'm Patrick.
Okay.
But the screen is having problem. My screen is having problem. I mean.
Okay. I wanted you to help me to mute those people who cannot mute their mic, but it's okay. I believe you guys, you are mature enough. I can see Clement Shuti, please. I can do, but try to mute your mic yourself. So these examples are much similar to the one we are doing. Okay. So I will come with the second approach. So as we did for normal variables, you can assign a value in 2 ways. Assign your values in 2 ways. The first one is this one that we covered. Gile Radukunda, please remove your video. So the first one is this one, just assignment operator. I do not have to repeat it. I'm going to focus on the second one. The second approach is when you assign a value from a database. So the way you assign a value from a database is similar to the way you assign a value to a variable from a database. Remember that we use the select into something like this one. Okay. So I'm going to modify this example here. Copy, because I want to assign the value from a database. So I'm going to do this. I do not need this one. All right. I do not need this one. I will go with the select statement. What I'm selecting employee ID, first name, last name, and the salary. We are selecting those 4 columns, and we are going to put, maybe we can put some stuff to differentiate between different columns. Maybe I put F name and EID. This is, I think, a common convention. The first one starts with a small letter, and the other will start with other subsequent words will start with a capital letter. So I'm selecting this because these are the columns from a database. Be careful. So you need to check from a database. Those columns exist. Employee ID, first name, salary from employees. So those columns exist in my database. You see, I'm writing them exactly the way they are written, and select all those columns into, if I get this value, where the first value will go. The first value will go into EID. The second value will go into F name. Third value will go into L name, and the last value will go into E salary. Then from employees. Okay, something is missing, but it's okay. We can still go ahead. Our naming convention here, it's this style. And here is this style. Then here, the column has changed. It's E salary. So the value that we get here will be the values from database. The program looks okay, but there is one problem. And what is that? So this program will not run. We can run it, but this program will throw what you call exception. And what is exception? What is so let's copy.
Flashback.
Let's copy. This program, Prince, will not run. This program will run into exception. And why exception? Yes. So many issues here. Number one, it says EID must be declared. EID must be declared. We don't have EID. EID. I think this one is okay. You can help me to check. EID is okay. This is one here. This is one here. Okay. EID. Plan number 10, it's here into EID. Oh, sorry. Yes, it's not declared. Yes, I got it. So we need to specify the record name, E, that is EID, then E first name, then E last name, then E salary, E salary. Because you remember, the same as for structure, we need to go with record name or structure name, then column name. So this program, it's okay, but so this program is okay, but logically, it will not work. So let's run this one and see. Okay, this is what you call exception. So what does it mean? A record cannot hold, let's see how many records you have actually. Okay, let's see how many records you have here. I need to learn the statement again. So check how many records you have. We have 107 records, you see? And we did define our record that it can be visualized as one row. This is multiple rows. 107 rows, they cannot fit into one placeholder, which is meant to accommodate one row. So you need to find a way so that you get like one row. So probably let's get this data from Kerry or from Jennifer. Put some condition maybe to make sure that your program will not return multiple rows. Since it is a record, you need to put a condition like where employee ID equal to 188, for example. Okay. So since this statement will return one row, this one row will be able to fit into our record. Let's go and see what happens. Copy. Paste. Oh my God. So when something is selected here, you cannot copy and go and paste into. Oh my God, what is that? No, should be undo. Should be copy, not a paste. So we paste it here. Now you see, we get the data from this employee. Remember, this is the data from the database. Okay. So if you put 109, you get a record from the next guy. Probably this will be Jennifer. Let's copy. Okay, again, you cannot copy. Let's copy here and the paste. So this is Jennifer. Yes, this is Jennifer. If you are looking at another employee, maybe 190. Yes, you can do this. Copy and paste. So Timothy gets ID 190 and the salary is 2,900. So this is the way to go. And the last approach, which is very interesting and very straightforward, all those examples up to here are just the one I'm describing. So let's look at this type here, very interesting. If you look at this kind of example, we have another simple declaration of record. So what does it mean? It's a scenario. Let's look at this scenario as well. I want to create a record which will hold individual law of employees table. They will look exactly the same, which means same columns, same data types, etc. So if you need to do this, there is a simple way we do that. If you want to do it in a complicated way, you can copy this one. This is a complicated way to do it, but I want to show you the easiest way. You copy this one, even if for last name, you needed to specify the type, employees last name, percentage row, percentage type, sorry. Even if for the salary, you need to go into employee, salary, percentage type. Make sure you have all the columns. Remember the columns. This describe employees. You have employee ID, first name, last name. What about email, the phone and number? You need to write everything here. Yes, email, employee email, which is also employees, percentage, email, percentage type. You continue this way, but you make sure that you write every single column here. But if that is the case, we do not want to go that way. If that is the case, you don't need to do this. All right? Say yes. At least one guy.
Yes.
Okay. So if your record will look exactly the same way as an individual row in your table, you do not need to do this. What you can do, you simply specify in the declaration section the name of your record and the table where you want it to have the same structure, and simply do percentage row type. Okay, so by writing this statement here, it means a lot. I've created a structure which has exactly the same structure as the description you have here. It will have employee ID, first name, last name, email, phone number, date, job ID, salary, commission PCT, manager ID, department ID, and each column in your record will have those data types. Understand?
Yeah,
Okay. I hope you understand this one. So now, when you come here to select whatever into, if you are selecting into, you can make your life easier. You can specify all the columns, or simply you can say select or into, you specify all the columns. But remember what? Each column here, each column in your record will have exactly the same name the column in your employees table. So you can do this and say into employee ID, into first name. So let's actually, let's check all the columns. We will say into employee ID, we will say into employee first name, then we say into employee last name, then you say into employee email, then we say into employee phone number, then we say into employee hire date, into employee job ID, into employee salary, into employee commission, into employee manager ID, into employee department ID. So if you want,
teacher wadufasha kumyutinga abantu bari gusakuza ku ruhande kuko bamwe muri twebwe bari kutubangamira ntabwo turi kumva
umukobwa mwamusohora mu ishuri ariko
Those guys have no social distancing.
yeah, it looks like they are sitting together. So who is on Techno Air? Yes, Grace Mutes, you have a question, or you want to tell them to keep quiet?
No,
Grace.
I had a question. I wanted to know, like before when we were declaring a record, we were using the keyword record. So with this way, we don't need to use.
You don't need the keyword record. Good question, right? So it's as simple as this. But the meaning is your record has this structure. Okay?
You should have exactly the same number of columns.
Same number and
the same.
And each column will have exactly the same type as it is in your database. Like here, employee ID will have this type. And the name will be exactly as this name here.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
So then even with your selected statement, if you want, you can specify those columns. But you remember, if you need all the columns, we use asterisk to mean all columns. Sorry, we use asterisk. Something like this one. So that means if I run this program in my record for this specific guy, I have this information here, but you can print all information if you want. You can go with even other information like employee ID. Eventually, let's get this way. Employee ID will come first. First name will come next. Last will come third. Okay, next email. And we do with E as a record name, then email column name. Then we do just one. So I was answering some calls, but okay, I'm back. So the next, after email, you have a phone number. But you remember, the column has to be exact as it is written there. That's why we say E, phone number. Then you have, after phone number, what do we have? After phone number, we have job ID. So the column name, no, we have a hire date, by the way. We have a hire date. It's okay. Since this is a printout, you don't need to specify the same order, but this will help you to check if all the columns are captured. So we do hire date here. Then after hire date, we do job ID. After hire date, we do job ID. So that's why we do job ID. Then we have salary, but the column name should be salary, not e-salary. Oh, this is a big mistake. Even here, the column name should be, you should tell that employee ID. So they have the same name because you did not specify the name of the columns. The name of fields in your record is exactly the same as the name of the columns in the database table. First name, and here also should be last name. So here should be salary, and after salary, you can have some other columns. Maybe let's copy and paste for the sake of time. I will say after here, it's a commission, PCT, and even here, it's gonna be commission, PCT, and here it's gonna be manager ID, manager, and the column name in my record will be manager ID, and this one department ID, and here it's gonna be department ID. So something like this one. So I just try to put all the columns from my table to see that my record has exactly the same structure as my table, since I used this statement to declare my record. I do not have to create it, just to declare the record. So now let's copy this one. Let's copy. Yes, please. All right, you see? Now you can see. The guy is ID 319. The name is Timothy Gates. Email is Gates. This is the phone number. This is the hire date. There is no value for commission PCT. There is no value for manager. There is no value for department. What is missing? We missed out the salary, right? We missed out the salary. Why did we miss a salary? Okay, we can put it anywhere we want. The thing is, we have a salary in our record because our record has all the columns from that table. Salary. So there will be salary. All right, so let's copy. Okay, sorry. Let's copy and paste. So you can see when the salary now comes, all right? So if I declare the record in this way, my record will have the same structure as the table that I specify here. The table name, then a percentage row type. All right, so more examples here, more explanation here, because this is the syntax. Record name, table name, row type. This is what we did. And just explanation of the syntax. Then the way you access the columns, everything is explained here. How do you get a value from a record? How you assign a value to a record? I think we did record name, column name, assignment operator, which is equal, okay, columns and equal, then value, then semicolon. So if we use the row type, still we can do the same. Record name as here, then column name as it is in your database, then still value, straightforward, very easy to understand. Using the select statement into whatever the column you are selecting into the record name. Because you specified some columns, you need to specify which column in your record will take those values. That's why when you say select X and this will say into the first value here, the first value will come into the first column. So which you specify by writing the name of record dot column name. The second value will go into the second member of your record, which also is specified with a record name and the dot column name. So if you use row type to declare your record, you can directly assign your values to the whole record instead of each column separately. This is what we did when it says select all into record name. Then from table, then you put where close. Okay. So if you need to check, maybe to get a value from a record to any variable, this is a just normal assignment operator. You put the name of variable, you put a record value. So if you can use this example, before we look at other set of examples, let's say, for example, you have another variable like my lucky number or my lucky year or my salary, something like that. You specify it as a number, put any type you want. If I want to have the value from my record to be assigned to this variable, yes, it's straightforward. You come and say my salary equal, then you put a value. So it will come from employee record, but I'm looking at this value because employee record has a lot of values. Has a employee ID, first name, last name, email, phone number, hire date, commission, manager, department ID, and the salary. So I'm only looking at the salary. So if you check, if the value is really assigned to my local variable, why not? You can do salary in my local variable is, this is not a record member, it's just a normal variable. Put my salary, something like this one. So you can copy this and paste. You can copy and paste. So you can see that the same salary is given to my local variable, which is my salary. All right, so since people are complaining about the bundles, I wanted to cover records. And previously, we covered variables and the constants. Today we covered records. If you if you're okay, so next time we cover decision-making statements and the loop control statements. So for today, it's okay. I can give you, I shared the document with you last time, I think. This is the same document we shared for records. If you haven't seen the document, I can share the document again. Has a concept and a number of examples, because every time when I create example, I used to paste them here. But of course, I can't keep posting so many examples, because there are some examples here as well. So I think you have the document. Class representative, you have the document, right?
No, we
Kindly
don't.
share it again.
Okay, I will share the document again. What about the video that we shared last time?
We have it.
You have it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So let us.
A question.
Okay, question. Just wait 1 second, please.
About page number 10.
Page number 10 in this document.
Yes.
Okay, good.
About passing value to and from.
Yes.
General syntax, I don't understand how can you add the low type.
Come again, please. So load type.
How do you add on row type?
No, load type, you only have one option. You have to select into.
Select into.
All right. So look here. If load type is used to declare a record, you can directly assign a value to the whole record instead of each column separately. Okay. You see? So when you use load type, you simply do this approach.
Select or into means replace low type.
Come again, please.
Select or into, the word I saw here. Does
So
this mean replace low type?
What does it mean, this one? This means the columns. All what? This means the columns, right? So if I needed to specify all this column, whatever, rather than specifying them, if it is every single column, rather than writing them like this one, I put asterisk. Okay?
Yes.
Into what? Record name. There is no record type when you do that way. There is no record type. It's just record name.
Yes.
All right. So yes, I think you have a very interesting point actually. So let me copy this example and paste it. Because I did specify the column names because I wanted you to know this. But normally when you do this, I can remove all these things and put into E. Because I know they have the same structure. Okay? You see what I mean?
Yes.
And that is what you have in the syntax. I can do this. Select or into E. You see?
Yeah.
So yeah. That's very interesting because I wouldn't have said this one if you did not ask this question. So if I paste this one, it's the same as the top one. I had simply to specify each column on top so that you can understand, right? But you see it's the same. Rather than saying E column name, whatever. So here means all the columns, like you have them here, into my entire record. Entire record has the same structure as my table law. All right?
Yeah.
Good. So if you know other question, guys.
So where do you pass it? and where front.
Come again, please.
You said to pass a value and to replace one from a record one.
So you want to
So
know how
here
you
is it to
can
pass it or is it to
no, there is, we
pass
said
it?
when you use, if low type is used, this is how you go about it, right?
Yeah.
This is how you go about it. If you want to assign a value, still it's okay. You can go ahead and do it because you can do employee ID, put whatever the value you want. Okay? Do it for every single column. You see?
Okay.
First name. You can do it, no problem, right?
Yes.
This is also possible.
Okay.
Or if you have like another record, let's say E2. And E2, I haven't tried this before, but I believe it can work as well. So eventually, if this two has the same structure, one might think why not having E2 equal to E1? Is that kind of the question you have?
Yeah.
I don't know if it can work. I never tried this one before. Together, let's check what happens. Because it might not accept that kind of assignment, but if it can accept it, yes. So if it can accept it, what does it mean? Maybe you can try to check what you have in E2. Let's pick a few rows and see what you have got in E2. Okay?
Yeah.
So try to put E2 here, E2 here, and E2 here. All right? If it works, means also the other values will be there.
Yes.
All right, let's check and see what we get. So now you see, it's working, right?
Yeah.
So this is the syntax. Okay, good. Very good to challenge. It's good to test it together. If it works, yes, we say it is working. If it does not work, we say maybe it's not working. It's running.
Teacher, the last one.
The last question?
Bring back the notepad. Yeah.
Oh my God, this guy wants to kill me. So notepad
No
is...
worry, teacher. Please, here under my salary number 7.
My
This
salary.
is too low.
My salary.
Above. Under declare.
Okay.
Yes. Wrote E employees. Even
Dot?
E2 employees.
Dot?
No, under it. E employees and E2 employees. What is the difference of these two lines?
Come on. This is like declaring first name and again declare last name. This is the first employee. This is the second employee. The first employee.
Okay.
In the first employee, we put the data from employees table with this ID. If you want for second employee, you can put different people. But you wanted to test this. If you can assign your record to another record.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So.
Please, sir, share with us this document. Not part, please.
Hello, we cannot hear you.
Sorry, sir, I have a question.
Not part.
Someone is trying to ask a question.
No, just we just came in mid of the course because we had another course. So I wanted just to ask if you can just send us or share with us the record of the.
Okay, I will put the record on YouTube. You will get the record.
Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, even the notepad, I think that is what my sister was asking for, although she was not very clear, but I think she's saying if you can share the notepad as well.
Yes, I will share. But you guys, when you run those programs, you need to be very cautious. If I have employees table, if you do not have employees table, you cannot run these examples. You need to have employees table. Otherwise, you need to customize it to reflect what. Okay. But
Yes.
if you manage to log in as HR, you will have those tables. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's end our session here. If you know other questions, we meet again next week at the same time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And
Yeah, teacher, there is a question. There is a question.
But teacher, after this class, we need a video.
Thank you. Thank you.
you need it?
We need this video.
I will share. I said I will share.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, so
Okay, thank you.
thank you and bye.
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 Bye bye.